All right, guys, so welcome back. So previously we were looking at question 11, discussion to do with the European Parliament and the laws on trolling. Hopefully, guys, that question has made a lot of sense. Now, guys, we're going to be moving on to the next question, which is question 14 of the same paper. So it says, over the last 10 years, there has been a huge increase in the number of television programs involving the work of forensic scientists. This media attention has been matched by a massive increase in the number of courses and qualifications available in this field. It says, although this new attention has led to sorry about that, greater public awareness, it has not led to creation of more jobs in this field. The work of forensic professionals has continued unchanged. Therefore, those who choose to study these courses will find that there is fierce competition for difficult and unpleasant work. So it says, which of the following, if true, would most weaken the above argument? So guys, using the ideas from before, give yourself just over a minute. Be sure to be back after that, and then we'll be going through the solutions. Okay, guys, so let's go through this. So it says, over the last 10 years, there's been a huge increase in the number of television programs involving the work of forensic scientists. That's just fact, isn't it? That's just his observations. So we can just cross this all out as fact. So cross, 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 cross. And it says, this media attention has not been matched by a massive increase in the number of courses and qualifications available in this field. Again, this is just all fact, isn't it? It's stating his observations. So we can just cross this all out. And it says, although this new attention has led to greater public awareness, it has not led to creation of more jobs in this field. Okay. Yeah, so there's greater public awareness. Yes, again, he's just explaining what he's seeing, his observations. So again, therefore, this is all just facts, isn't it? So just going through this, guys, and all the concluding questions we've done, if you watch all those videos, this is probably of the type where he's just giving reasons to bulk up his argument, and then at the end, he's probably going to give his opinion. And it says, the work of forensic professionals has continued unchanged. Again, observation. So this you can just line out. Then it says, therefore, remember, it gives reason. It says it's like a sort of cliffhanger. So therefore, this is why I think. So therefore, those who choose to study these courses will find that there is fierce competition for difficult and unpleasant work. So that's clearly his opinion, and therefore really kind of indicates that. So basically, we got the opinion. So the opinion of that paragraph, the conclusion of that paragraph, is that if you choose to study forensic scientist, there'll be a lot of competition for difficult and unpleasant work. Okay, which of the following, if true, would most weaken? So it says each year. So we're looking for ones that weaken that statement. Then, so it says each year, around 1,500 graduates in forensic science compete for 200 jobs in the sector. Yeah, that actually strengthens the argument, isn't it? That really shows how fierce the competition is. So it can't be that. It says many students of forensic science go to pursue careers in other areas. Um, yeah, so this one, yeah, yeah, so this one is actually quite good because basically the idea of the passage is that there's kind of, it's kind of painting the picture that there's no point of going into forensic science um, because of the competition. And yeah, it's really difficult to find the job. But here it's saying, here it actually would actually weaken that argument because it's saying that although you do forensic science, it doesn't mean you really have to go through that path. Most people actually go onto other areas. So this one's quite good. I like this one, so I'm going to bracket that off. It says new technologies have brought a decrease in the number of forensic science staff required in laboratories. So again, since there's a less staff are needed, that's obviously going to so less supply, and therefore that's obviously going to increase competition. So it can't be this one. That's going to strengthen the argument. It says the number of university courses in forensic science have grown at an unprecedented rate. Yeah, again, that's just going to be this. That's going to actually strengthen it. That's going to be there's more competition because now there's more demand. So this is kind of the demand side of things. So it can't be that one. It says salaries for forensic scientists compare well with those in other scientific fields, right? So yeah, this you might think it kind of strengthens the argument, but the 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 argument isn't really talking about money, it's more talking about the competition, isn't it? So that's why this is kind of irrelevant. So this is why this one can't be it. So remember, guys, when you're doing these kind of questions, you have to look at the context. So this is really talking about competition rather than the salary side of things. And again, which one fits most the conclusion that you've just indicated. So hopefully, guys, even though it wasn't super clear, you would manage to cross out the other ones and you managed to get B then as your final answer. So hopefully, guys, that has made sense. And as always, we look forward to seeing you in the next video. All right, guys. So previously we looked at this question to do with getting jobs in forensic science and how there's a lot of competition there. But hopefully, guys, the technique we used in the previous questions, you managed to also use that and come up with the correct answer. But now, guys, we move on to the next series of questions, the same type of questions, but from the IMAT 2016 bunch of papers. So the first question, guys, is question 18. So let's read this together. It says the government is considering changing the law to assume consent for the donation of organs after death. People opposed to that they would have to deliberately opt out of the scheme, although relatives would still be consulted. The supply of healthy organs available for transplant would be vastly increased under this scheme. If the government really wants to improve the lives of people with long-term health problems, this is a measure it must take. Okay, so it says which of the following true would most strengthen the argument in the passage of. So guys, give yourself a minute, be sure, just over a minute actually, and then be sure to be back after that where we're gonna go through how to do this question. Okay, guys, so welcome back. So let's go over this. The government is considering changing the law to assume consent for the donation of organs after death. Again, that's just clearly his observation of what's going on in the world, isn't it? And what the government's thinking of doing. So we can just X that out. That's a fact. People opposed to the idea would have to deliberately opt out of the scheme, although relatively would still be consulted. Again, just observation of what the scheme would involve. So this we can just cross out. Then it says the supply of healthy organs available for transport would be vastly increased under this scheme. Uh, Although you might think that's his opinion, logically that's probably likely to be the case, isn't it? And even if that was his opinion, it will be super weak. So you can just cross this out as well. So just cross this out. It says if the government really wants to improve the lives of people with long-term health, this is a measure it must take. So can you see this must is really strong language, guys. And hopefully by this point you can really appreciate this is actually quite a strong. This is quite a strong opinion. This is which one of the following, if true, would strengthen. So which one would strengthen the fact that the government has to do the scheme. So it says bereaved relatives find donation decisions very distressing. So if they find it distressing, that is opposing the idea. That means that you shouldn't do this. So you shouldn't do this so you can avoid the distress, which is obviously not a good thing. So it can't be this one. The number of voluntary organ is small and not increasing. Yeah, that's clearly a good one, isn't it, guys? Because if it's small and not increasing, then you need a way to get some, and this might have been the only way. So this one's quite good so far. I'm going to bracket this off. It says not all of the organs donated are suitable for transplant. This one would actually weaken it because that basically means that um, getting huge numbers of organs, it would not necessarily be a good idea. You're more talking about the quality, so you have to also consider the quality rather than just the number. So this one actually weaken it. So we can cross that out. There will be opposition by civil liberty groups to this measure. So if there's opposition, that would actually weaken it, isn't it? Because that might cause problems and fights and stuff to break out, I guess. So it can't be this one. It says it is not known how many people would opt out. It is not known how many people would opt out of the compulsory scheme. Again, this is kind of irrelevant. I don't think it really strengthens nor weakens it. This is kind of just fully irrelevant. And even if you thought this was relevant, guys, hopefully you can definitely see that B is clearly going to beat this one. So you can cross this out. And therefore, that's why B is the answer, guys. And also, guys, I hope you're spotting this trend that with these kind of questions, since it isn't really testing your ability to find the conclusion, it's quite easy to find which the conclusion is the most opinionated, because there's always some strong, clear sentence which is clearly the strongest opinion. And then you just have to work from that. But hopefully, guys, that has made sense. And as always, we look forward to seeing you in the next video. All right, guys. So previously we were looking at this question, talking about opt-out schemes for organs. Hopefully, guys, this question was really an exemplary example of how these questions is not really too difficult to find the conclusion. And from there, again, it's not hopefully too difficult to find which one strengthens or weakens. But now, guys, we move on to the next question, which is question 19 of the same paper. It says, in recent years, there has been an increased concern that fashion models reflect an unrealistic and unattainable image of femininity, and that this has a negative effect on the self-esteem of many young women. Many major designers continue to design for an exceptionally tall and flat-chested female frame. It should be no surprise, therefore, that there have been several cases recently when designers have favored male models on their catwalks to model their women's wear. Rather than being a cause of surprise or concern, this should be welcomed as a recognition of the fact that these designs are unsuitable for most women, and it draws attention to the major differences between catwalk fashion and clothing for the real world. So which of the following, if true, would more strengthen the above argument? So guys, pause the video, give yourself just over a minute. Be sure to be back after that, and then we'll be going through the solution. Okay, guys, so let's read this. It says, in recent years, there's been increased concern that fashion models reflect an unrealistic and unattainable image of femininity, and that this has a negative effect on the self-esteem of many young women. Again, this is all just his observations, isn't it? Or rather, his or hers. You don't really know who's writing this. So you can just cross this all out. Then it says many major designers continue to design for an exceptionally tall and flat-chested female frame. Again, he's just stating his observations here. So you can cross this out. And then it says, it should be no surprise, therefore, that there has been several cases recently when designers have favored male models on the catwalks to model their women's wear. Again, just observation. So we could cross this out. Then it says, rather than being a cause of surprise or concern, this should be welcomed as a recognition of the fact that these are unsuitable for most women, and it draws attention to the major difference between catwalk fashion and clothing in the real world. Clearly, this should, or this would, this must, this has to be. Remember, these are just languages which are clear conclusion indicators. So basically, this is a conclusion indicator. So basically, the conclusion of this passage is that this idea that you're using male models for female fashion should be a good thing, because it shows that it's not normal to have this physique in a normal woman. And it says which of them strengthen. So which one strengthen the idea that this is a good thing. So there's some designers have favored male, but simply to generate more media attention for their collection. So this one actually weaken it, because it's saying they're using male not for the reason to show women that this is unattainable, but just for media. So this can't be it. And there's some female models struggle to maintain the necessary physique for catwalk modeling. So that B would actually weaken it, because it suggests the only reason they're not using female models is because they don't have the physique, therefore they're resorting onto male. So it can't be this one. It says some designers are recognizing that the physique of many catwalk models represents an unhealthy ideal. Some designers are recognizing that the physique of many catwomen represents an unhealthy ideal for most women. Yeah, I guess that one is good, so we can consider that one. Then it says very few observers noticed initially that the male were not in fact women. Um, so this one would actually weaken it, isn't it? Because it's basically saying that people think the men were women, and therefore they might still think in the same way that, okay, this is the ideal, this is how it should be. So it can't be this one. And it says surveys of young women have suggested that the use of male models make the typical model physique um, less desirable to attain. This one is actually, I like it really well, because it's really it would strengthen it, because this is showing that young women are agreeing that yes, when you use male, I don't want to necessarily look like that. So that one is really good. But let's consider C as well. Some designers recognize that the physique of many represents an unhealthy ideal um, for most women. So the reason why I think that one's not good, because that's what the designers are seeing. But this is mainly talking about what the women see, the women who are going to wear these clothes. And that's why I think E is actually the better option here rather than C. So hopefully you can appreciate, guys, that E is the correct answer here. And yes, as always, really look forward to guys seeing you in the next video. And again, if you have any comments, just comment down below and we can go through them. But other than that, guys, see you in the next video. All right, guys, so welcome back. So previously we were looking at this question to do with femininity and, female fashion, and how using male models might be a good idea. But hopefully, guys, that has made sense. Now, guys, we move on to question 14. So it says, children born in Japan today can expect to live 5 years longer than their American counterparts. Life expectancy has been rising in all countries, but the slowest rate of increase has been in the USA. What could account for this, given that the percentage of people who smoke is roughly the same in all rich countries? Of course, the USA is birthplace of fast food restaurants that sell unhealthy food. Moreover, a recent survey of American lifestyle has found that overeating and failure to exercise are widespread among the population. So we must assume that obesity and lack of exercise have caused the USA to lag behind in the increase in life expectancy. This is which of the following, if true, most weakens the above argument. So guys, pause the video, give yourself just over a minute, and be sure to be back after that. We'll be going through the method to this question. Okay, guys, so let's go through this. It says children born in Japan today can expect to live 5 years longer than their American counterparts. So remember, whenever they're using numbers or stats, this is basically fact. So you can just cross this out. So let's cross this all out. So it says life expectancy has been rising in all countries, but the slowest rate of increase has been in the USA. Again, just observations of statistics that the writer has observed. And it says, what could account for this, given that the percentage of people who smoke is roughly the same in all rich countries? Again, he's just asking a question here. So that's not really a factorial opinion, he's just asking a question. So you can cross that out. Of course, the USA is the birthplace of fast food restaurants that sells unhealthy food, which is true and basically a fact, isn't it? So we can just cross this out. It says, moreover, a recent survey, remember when you see survey or research or something like that, that's indication that that's going to be a fact. So we can even just without even reading this, we can just cross this out. That's just basically things he's using to back up his statements. And it says, so we must assume that the obesity and lack of exercise have caused the USA to lag behind in the increase in life expectancy. So it says, so we must remember, again, a strong conclusion indicator. So this is clearly going to be the conclusion. So this is what I mean, guys. It's quite evident which the conclusions are in these kind of questions. So basically, he's saying the cause of the the cause of the lag behind in the increase in life expectancy is due to obesity and lack of exercise. Which one would suggest otherwise, though? Which one would weaken it? Because most rich countries have the same standard. Which most countries have the same standard of medical expertise. That's not really relevant, is it? It's not really talking about any other factors which could account for the lag in the increase in life expectancy. Maybe if it says US has a low standard of medical expertise, which is obviously not the case, then maybe that could be. But not this. This is kind of irrelevant, so you can cross this out. And it says the USA spends more money on fast food than any other nation. This would actually strengthen it, isn't it? Because that would obviously mean then the obesity is probably what's causing the lag behind. So it can't be this one. Then it says the Japanese children had a healthier diet in the 1960s than they do today. So this is more centered around Japan, which isn't really the thing is focused on the USA. That's why this one, it can't be to do with this one. There is mention of Japan, yes, in the first sentence, but the conclusion is to do with USA, so that it can't be that. Then it says in the 1960s, 1970s, the USA had the highest percentage of smokers. This one actually could be true because it's giving a reason other than obesity and lack of exercise, which is causing the lag behind. And that would obviously weaken it because it will show that those two factors aren't the main factors. This could be another factor which is being missed. So this one I like. So this, we can bracket this off. And then it says, what's happened there? Yeah. Then it says American fast food restaurants are now found in most rich countries. Again, that would suggest that there is a problem with obesity, which is causing the lag behind in increasing life expectancy. That would obviously strengthen it. So hopefully, guys, it's pretty evident then that D in this case would be the correct answer. So again, as always, guys, I really hope you found that useful. And again, we look forward to seeing you in the next clip.